How are you, Ian?
I was very concerned about that segue. Very concerned.
Yeah, I mean, who else would have called the game tonight with Brent Barry if you got relegated last second?
How about you and Marv yesterday? That was fantastic.
Thanks, Ian.
What a pleasure.
Oh,
Rich.
please, come on. You know what that means to me. Ian, you know what that means to me.
No, that's next level stuff.
When you hear from Marv, I mean, that's it. I do this because of Marv. I do.
I know you're not even exaggerating.
I am not exaggerating, so to hear when Marv comes on, I do turn into a 5-year-old boy.
Right, there's that moment where you think, wait, is this a Marv impersonator?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Hello, this is really Ashton Kutcher. You've been punked.
Exactly.
Yes. So where are you? You're in Toronto for tonight's game, correct?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been here a few days. Sadly, with the generation that you and I grew up as a part of, our whole real thought process on Canada was based on SCTV and Strange Brew.
Yes.
And I've learned that Canadians are just nice people.
They are.
They really are just nice. I know that's kind of the whole perception, it's real.
And you being from the New York metropolitan area, your first thought, just like mine, would be, what's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
What's the matter with them? Why are they so nice?
And Toronto feels like America. Everything is basically the same. You walk around the city and you go to lunch, you order your food, and then right at the last second, something's a little different. So they'll bring you your burger. Do you want cheese? Yeah, I want cheese. Great. And then they place it down on the table, and you're ready. You're ready to eat. They say, and would you like some tartar sauce on that? No. What? No. What? Where did this go sideways?
What's up with that?
It's so close.
Really?
It's like right there.
And then out of Banff, there's out of the left. Here comes his left turn with the tartar sauce. Okay.
Yeah, but it's been great, and these fans had a collective sigh of relief in Game 7. You could feel the uneasiness in this city. And I just think it's built up over time. There's a general sense of wanting respect and validation. The only team in the NBA that's not a United States-based team. And unlike great basketball cities across America, this is a unique situation where the city represents the entire country, not just Toronto, but all of Canada.
Well, as we know, the basketball ring is the same no matter what country you're in. So, and in terms of Miami, though, Ian, is there a Chris Bosh sighting possibility, or is this just a mere rumor that there's a shot for him to return here in the playoffs?
What we're hearing is that this thing is potentially going to turn ugly, whether it's in the middle of this series or during the offseason, that they might not be on the same page. And again, this is just rumblings right now, but it's beginning to catch fire, and that is that Chris Bosh wants to play, and he believes that he is physically ready to play, and there might be a thought process behind the scenes from the Heat that they like what they have going right now, and they don't want to disrupt what's developed post-All-Star break and the new rotation and the new style, the new identity that they forged after they had to deal with Chris Bosh's absence. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out. He did not take the team charter here. There is still a possibility that he shows up in Toronto. He spent 7 years here, was a very popular figure in this country, but moved on to form the Big Three down in South Florida with Wade and LeBron. He's got a big contract. The team has played very well, despite the fact that there were moments where they were shaky in that Charlotte series, and you thought maybe the Hornets could pull off the upset. What they did in Game 1, what they did in Game 7, that's Miami at its best. And they're capable, very capable of putting big numbers on the board. I'm curious to see how this series shakes out, because with Toronto, it could go one of two ways. Either that is that feeling that we mentioned earlier where they exhaled and, okay, we got over the hump, we're fine no matter what happens, we've got this series as part of our franchise history. Or it triggers something for the Raptors where they build confidence, and now they're not playing with that nervousness. And that last 5 minutes, let's face it, Game 7, they were playing not to lose. That was not sensible, efficient, or pretty basketball, and Indiana came very close to walking out of Air Canada Center with a 7-game victory.
Ian Eagle joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. You were there in Oakland for the closeout game, right? Also, but you've been around the Warriors. What do you have for me also with Steph Curry? What are you hearing about Steph Curry? All right.
Yeah, I'm hearing that he's going to play again. So the initial thought process that, this could be it, he's done. He's going to be out there. The question is when, and the question is how Golden State wants to handle this. I think they're going to side with caution here and not push anything. They know chemistry-wise that's not going to be a problem. The idea of Steph Curry coming back into the lineup and everything fitting together, it fits like a glove. So now it's just a case of being sure that he can't do any further damage, that he's comfortable, and that his movement is not grossly affected by what he's dealing with. The crazy part, and we know this in sports, Rich, things happen, and then that leads to something else. If James Harden doesn't hit that shot in that series, then we never see Steph Curry get injured. It never faces quite that situation. Now, maybe it happens on a different play, but that was a game changer and a series changer and potentially a playoff changer. But I think Curry's going to be back, and that team is still going to be tough to beat. Oklahoma City and San Antonio, that is going to be a battle, as we saw last night, that frenetic finish, which was one of the craziest 13.5 seconds I've ever seen, and I've covered the NBA for 22 years. Those teams, they're going to go at it, and Golden State's going to be sitting there waiting for them on the other side.
Yeah, I know you. I was going to ask you that, Ian. I'm on with Ian Eagle here on the Rich Eisen Show. In the first hour, I equated those final seconds last night in San Antonio to watching the game. It was as it was finished in a bouncy house, right, where everything was being crashed against each other, and it was total bedlam. How does the NBA pick through that this morning? How is this going to come out in the wash?
Mike Vaccaro in the New York Post, if anybody wants to check it out, had a really strong detailing of what went down. 11 things went wrong there. 11. He counted 11, and he was right on the money with all of it. Look, the human side of this, as we know, Rich, mistakes are made.
Yes.
There have been mistakes made by officials throughout NBA history. The difference now in the world we live in today is it's so scrutinized because every fan has access to the replay. Every media member has access seconds after it happens, and things used to fade away, and you would just kind of accept it for what it was, and we don't do that anymore. How do they change it? How do they adjust it? You can't replay everything. You can't go back and look at everything. This happened in real time, and unfortunately, for San Antonio, it's probably a call that should have gone the other way, although the Spurs had chances. They had a 3-on-1 break. It was a poor pass from Danny Green. Normally, San Antonio figures out a way to convert that.
To execute.
They've got numbers.
No question.
They had the opportunity there, Rich, to win the game, and they didn't do it. I thought Oklahoma City played better than San Antonio last night. I have no problem with the fact that the Thunder tied the game. The issue was just how everything went down. Look, Ginobili was on the line as well.
Yep.
So before you even trigger the bizarre Dion Waiters leaning into the defensive player on an inbound, which I've never seen in my life as well, there should have been a violation called right there, and then all of this chaos would never have happened.
But it's not just. Let's even throw those out, right? That the union for the refs admitted. Yep. What Ken Maurer said last night, that we've never seen this before. We missed it, okay?
Yep.
I get it. And that while you're looking at that happening, you're not looking down at Ginobili's feet.
Sure.
Understand that. But then the throw to Durant, he was clearly fouled.
He was.
And then underneath the basket, LaMarcus Aldridge was dragged down. And in both of those instances, officials are staring right at it. Now, I had Stu Jackson on in hour number one and asked him specifically, are they specifically told by the NBA to swallow their whistles? He says no. I just don't know if I believe that. What do you hear? What is the scuttlebutt about that? Because it sounds to me like the NBA says, stay out of it, refs, because they stared right at it and they were mute. They were like statues.
Yeah, I believe him. I believe him, Rich. I don't think it's something that's verbalized, but it may be something that's just understood within that fraternity of referees, that they don't want to play a role and have that kind of impact if it's close. Now, in those cases, it was egregious, and it's hard to deny that. what I saw, even in the game that we called the other night, Game 7,
yes,
there was a clear push-off. DeRozan pushing the back of Jan Mahinmi that may have changed the outcome of that game. It wasn't called on an alley-oop attempt. Now, you could question whether or not Paul George should be looking for an alley-oop for Jan Mahinmi at the biggest moment of the game. Normally, that's Paul George time. It's not Jan Mahinmi. I just like saying Jan Mahinmi.
Please say it one more time in a sentence.
It's Jan Mahinmi.
Yes.
The question becomes, when we go back and look at all of these things, we recognize that these things happen over the course of a game. When it is under the microscope of the last seconds of the game, important games, is when it gets the most attention. And I understand why San Antonio would be upset. The flip side of that is still the Spurs had opportunities to win that game, and they could not get it done. They're going to move on to Game 3. This will be forgotten, as it always is. There have been bad calls over the years. You move on. The Sacramento Kings thought they should have been in the NBA Finals in 2002. The Lakers won the series. They won Game 6. They won Game 7. They won the NBA championship in a sweep against the then New Jersey Nets. It's not something we look back on and key on and put an asterisk next to. We move on, and the fans will move on from this. They'll play Game 3, and the spirited part of this series will resume.
Last question for you. In the NBA media, of which you are part, Ian, and play-by-play pantheon of which you are part in the NBA currently right now, is there jockeying for position for a role in Space Jam 2 right now? Happening right now? Are there sharp elbows being thrown between you and Kevin Harlan? Right? I mean, is Kevin Calabro maybe coming out of the distance? Maybe.
I think so.
Look, how's it going right now?
Yeah,
in terms of contact on that.
I've got my reel ready. Let's just leave it at that.
What's on that reel? What is part of the Ian Eagle filmography?
I don't want to divulge because there's a pretty good chance that the Calabro-Harlan connection will watch this interview back, and then
we don't want it.
That puts me in a tough position. But Rich, I know because you have a lot of experience,
yes,
and I might lean on you in this situation.
I'm here for you.
My experience most recently is based on a small role you might have seen in Southpaw as reporter number 2.
What was South? I missed Southpaw.
It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay.
He plays a fighter who's lefty.
Okay.
Yes.
Boxing. Okay, I didn't even.
Yes.
You were in that?
Yes, reporter number 2.
Who is reporter number 1?
Reporter number 1 was a Pittsburgh news anchor.
Okay.
That got top billing.
How is that possible? Do you need a new agent?
Was in the rehearsal. We had a rehearsal just moments before we shot it, before they brought in all the extras.
Yes.
And 50 Cent is also in the film.
Oh.
And he plays the manager of Billy Hope. So as we're going through the rehearsal, he's looking at the script, and then he's looking up, and I'm doing my lines in the rehearsal, and then he looks up again at me, and he says, "Are you reporter number 2?" And I looked back at him, and I said, "Do I look like reporter number 2?" And he had a big smile. He went, "Yeah."
So how can you not be in something with a 2 at the end of it in Space Jam 2? You already have 2 experience.
It's
right?
all set up.
Okay.
It's going to happen. The other guys should just even forget about it.
Don't even try out for it. All right, Ian. Thanks very much. Thanks for calling in.
Hi, Rich.
Good chatting.
We'll talk to you soon.
It's Ian Eagle.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.